I might just discuss some of the tools here. So we have here what it's called a smart tool, and there's like a grab, and there is, if you hover over that, selector tool and a trim tool. Okay, and all of this together is a smart tool. So let's say we have something like a track. This is nothing, by the way. This is just an empty space. So this is the selector tool, which when your mouse looks like that, is where you can cut stuff as well. Um, and this is the trim tool, trim stuff. So selector tool at the top part of that middle section. So there's a middle line here. When you go at the top, there's a selector tool. When you go on the sides, there's the trim tool. When you go on the bottom, there's the grabber tool. So it's a kind of a nice, smart way that Pro Tools did. So you can have all these nice tools together. Yeah. And of course, you can also just grab just that one. And when you have that grab tool selected, you can just grab it anyway. But you can't trim stuff. That's why it's a nice combo that they have here. These tools over here. So we have, let's talk about the zoom in and out. There's zoom in and zoom out. There's a single zoom where it just zooms right in. And there's a normal zoom. And to zoom out, you can press R on the keyboard. So R is to zoom out and T is to zoom in. But to enable these shortcuts, these one-letter shortcuts, you have to have this pressed. It says edit keyboard focus. So when I don't have it engaged, my zoom in and zoom out doesn't work. When I have it, it's working. Okay, let's talk about a few editing tools. Let's grab this one with the waveform and zoom right in. So, created a bit of a fade before, it's alright. Okay, so this is the trim tool. To fade in and out, on your trim tool, you can go up a bit and you can fade in. See how that changes from up to the middle. And if you have a break in the middle and you want to crossfade, that will be on the bottom, and then you can crossfade. And then after the crossfade, you can do stuff like that where you want the stuff on the right to be more audible than the stuff on the left, or vice versa. Okay, let's talk about editing a bit. So to break a track, simply press B and you break it. I'm just gonna undo here, and let's say you broke something and you're like, no, I don't want to break it, and I want to just go back. You can press undo. But if you've broken so many things and you've done so many stuff in between that you can't really undo, or just like it's just a little bit messy now, what you can do is you can just get rid of the fades just by pressing on them, deleting them. Is there another fade there? Yep. And so see how there's so many breaks here. You can highlight them all and press Command H. And Command H is heal. It's just like breaking, you healing. So that's how you can heal your tracks. Heal your clips, sorry, together. A little bit more about shortcuts. So you can break this beginning part and delete this. let's say that's like the beginning of the track, and it's all very just like noisy, and it's just there's nothing over there. You can just break it and delete it. Or what you can do is you can just hover your mouse anywhere here and just press A. Now because there's a break here, it didn't delete all that part. But let's say we healed that, right? And now we have all this noise that we don't want. We press A. And A just simply cuts everything in the beginning of your track. And similarly, S is they cuts everything at the end of the track. So if I have S here, it just looks at everything over there until that is finished, and it just cuts it. And you can just cut it over here, obviously. Another thing is good to know is D, G, and F. And these are the fades. So we have D for fade in. We have F. We have G, sorry, for fade out. All of this track is faded out. Or we have F. But because F is a crossfade, you have to sort of tell, you have to sort of highlight where you want your F to be. You can't just go on a break and then F. You can't just do that. You have to just sort of be like, yep, that. And if you don't want to go down there and you're just doing quick edits, you go here and then you go, yeah, and you go here, and you go there. It's a very good way to work this way. So you have a podcast you're editing and you're doing a few cuts. Instead of doing like cut, clean up, fade, cut, clean up, fade, you can do cut, 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 and then go and just highlight everything and just do global fade. Which is, that's one way of doing it. You can just do this and do so. Haha. Okay. So this is one way of doing it, fade. Or you can highlight all of these breaks and press Command F. And that will get you a window. It's called batch fades. Batch fades is a global fade thing. So you want to have equal power. You can have equal gain. Equal power. I recommend equal power more, so you don't hear the end of something lowering down in volume and something is going up. Equal power lets both tracks getting faded in and out to keep their gain stable, to keep the gain in unison with each other. Yeah. So after you try to keep them all gained together, you have standard, that's an in shape, that's an out shape. You can have an S curve, why not? You can have all wacky shapes. You can have triangle. What's it's just a right angle, isn't it? It's just wow. Okay, that's pretty cool. I'll just like to go standard, equal power. With the fade in, you can have an exponential fade like that, just like sort of something that creeps in. Or you can just have a standard fade in. I recommend just going between the two. And also you have SQ and all that stuff. Down here it says create fade-ins, so you can just disable the create fade-ins. Let's say you have highlighted the crossfades, the fade outs, and the fade-ins. You can just say, I don't want fade-ins, I don't want fade-outs, I just want crossfades. So you've disabled these two, and you're just doing that one, which is, in our case, that is what we're doing here. We're just creating these fade-ins. I mean crossfades. So create new crossfades, adjust existing crossfades shapes and slopes. Let's just keep that ticked in. Adjust existing crossfade length. Okay, there it is. So this is 5 milliseconds. That means that it creates 5 milliseconds on each side of the break. If we want it to be more, we can just say, all right, let's do 100 milliseconds and create that. When we zoom in, look at that, it already created a fade for us at 100 milliseconds either way. If we go here, we can change that time code to minutes and seconds. So you can see there's roughly from this to here, this is the value, this is the length, 49, and then this here is 50. So it's by all 100 milliseconds. It's all of it 100 milliseconds, not each side. So it's just 50 milliseconds on one side, 50 milliseconds on the other side. Anyway, let's talk about this now we're in here as well. So we have bars and beats, which what you would want to do, and on grid mode, so you can have your grids, which is very nice. Or you have minutes and seconds. You can have time code. This is more for film stuff. So that would be minutes, seconds, frames. The minutes and seconds is minutes, seconds, milliseconds. Then we have feet and frame. I've never used feet and frame. I don't know in what era you would use them in. Let me know if you've used them before and if they're nice. And we have samples, which is I've never used as well, but they're good to have. Maybe one day. Anyway, let's go minutes and seconds. So you can have these, and to nudge between these, you press this key, this and that key. You press these two. To nudge between these, you press these two keys. And you have grid mode, which is, it just goes, snaps to grid, as you can see. You have slip mode, that it just goes freely. You have shuffle mode, that goes freely, but with shuffle mode, when you edit stuff out, let's say you break this and you don't want it anymore, delete, boom, it snaps it together. Whereas if you're in slip mode, you don't want that, it just leaves an empty space there. So shuffle mode can be used for editing. It's a very powerful tool. I would recommend it for long edits where you're editing, let's say, an audiobook or again a podcast or something. Just put it on, get rid of the ums and ahs and all those stuff that you don't need, and yeah. Anyway, to recap, just watch the video again. Okay. Peace. See ya.